If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You need to change what broke means.
There you go.
That's where the flaw is here.
Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right.
All right, Donna, we haven't talked about AI in at least 30 minutes. So today we're going to be talking about, actually, it's been a few weeks really since we talked about it. And in the AI world, that's a long time.
I know.
That's a very long time. So we do want to talk about that today, talking about Battle of the Bots and how AI is on the defense, but also on the offense.
We hope so.
Yeah.
That we're able to do both and it benefit us on both sides. However,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to, whether you want it to or not, it's going to affect you in some way. So you will be attacked by AI or AI enabled humans. How about that?
and it's like people, I don't, there's so many people that still are like, well, no, I haven't really gotten around to using it. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I did a presentation on it to a local group, just a citizens group here recently. And it was amazing that how many people hadn't tried it or hadn't even heard of it, which I find that extremely hard to comprehend that you've not even heard of it.
Yeah.
But, and I was just showing them different things and the audience was, all kind of different ages and all that. Some people were retired and I think the two things that got the most reaction, believe it or not, was one, when I showed how you could point it at like a plant and say, tell me what kind of plant this is. And, is it healthier and what should I do to make it better? And they were like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. and then the other one was, I said something about using it to take a picture of yourself and then ask it like what colors, goes with your skin tone and what should you wear and not wear. And I saw this one lady in the audience, like just lit up like, oh my gosh, where's this been all my life?
Gonna be doing it at home before she even got home, probably pulled over.
I know. Yeah. So it's, it's the thing that gets people like, how can it be useful in your everyday life or how can it be useful in your everyday job? Not just how can it be used to attack you and, in the world.
Well, and we say that about all kinds of stuff. Like if I want someone to understand it, whether it's, AI or HIPAA training or how to use a new tool, I have to make it about them.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't relate to it, I'm not going to connect to it. And therefore I will not absorb any information you have to share.
Yeah. It's the hardest thing to initially understand, which is how can this be useful for me?
Yeah.
I remember years ago when the iPad first came out.
Uh-huh.
I had a friend of mine who bought one because he has to buy the newest thing every time it comes out, even though he has no idea why or what it does. So he shows me this iPad and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, it's just a big fat phone that won't make phone calls. And it took me playing with it for a little bit to kind of like get how it's useful for me because I'm like, it does the same thing my phone does, except my phone actually does more. It's just a bigger screen. I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I carry phone and iPad with me everywhere. Well, and also a laptop because it's a. But I would love to get it where I don't have to, but we just do too many things, And so AI is introducing some tools that may help whittle down, or at least how often you have to reach for those devices, particularly if you have like ChatGPT sitting there and you're just talking to it all the time and asking it things. And I'm on a road trip and I just open it up and start asking it questions about Oh, I was like, okay, I'm headed into, these states and I have a peach pass. Does that work in all of these places? And it goes through and tells me where it works and
Hmm.
how and what roads, and on the roads I'm following where I'll need it.
How can I avoid the police? What roads do I need to
Yeah,
take?
I haven't tapped it into that yet. But first, we do have a couple of little reminders before we go down the AI rabbit hole, which you and I will constantly do. We've already done it twice before we started recording. And really, this is just a reminder about how important it is to not have legacy technology hanging around
Mm-hmm.
just because it still works.
Yeah.
You don't know that it still works. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know that what you see is it working, but it could be hacked and working for someone else at the same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If I was a hacker, I would say make my job easier. Don't upgrade to Windows 11 because Windows 10 end of life is coming up in less than 3 months. So your less than 90-day countdown has already started.
Yeah.
And don't patch anything. Don't even worry about it. Make my life easier as a hacker.
So, and it was a couple of stories that came up of, gee, we have to be able to patch and patch quickly.
Mm-hmm.
One was Sonic Wall network devices, which are used there. It's not like a rarely used. Yeah, it's very common.
No, it's one of the better brands. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Sonic Wall as far as it's not like a low quality second class device.
So for those who will hire an IT company but not go on a management program with them, they will get a Sonic Wall set up and then they just leave it because it's still working. We've seen it, we
Mhm.
know it, we've heard of it, we've shook our head and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
But it still works. It's kind of like take a grenade, pull the pin halfway out, and just wait for boom. Because your left of boom is nothing more than pulling the pin out. Hopefully, right of boom will go okay for you because it will happen. It's like, that's your front door to the internet, and you are literally leaving it barren because they found a back door being installed on these Sonic Wall old devices.
Mm.
Old devices. So, yeah, I mean, you basically had a really nice new door at some point, and now it's just barely clinging to the hinges and openings all over the place is the way you need to see it. I mean, all it's going to take is, it won't even take the big bad wolf to huff and puff.
Yeah. And these network devices they're a challenge if you don't have somebody that's managing your network, whether it's internal IT or an MSP, because it will continue to function as far as what you're concerned. Like, can I get to the internet? It'll continue to do that, even though it's not protecting you anymore.
Yep.
And it's not, there's no like flashing red light that it's out of date or that firmware needs to be done. There's nothing to alert you unless you've set up some kind of email alerts. It's just silently sitting there still, quote unquote, working. And if you have the mentality that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, it's not broke. It's just compromised.
Yeah, it's well, the question is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You need to change what broke means.
There you go.
That's where the flaw is here, because it's supposed to create a firewall between your environment and the internet, and that requires two things: allowing you to use the internet and having the firewall. Firewall is no longer working. You just have one of them, so it is broke. Speaking of broke,
Yes.
Microsoft is frantic. I saw multiple articles about it, that this is a big thing. Everybody's releasing alerts. SharePoint,
Mm-hmm.
that's huge and used in a lot of big companies. hundreds of them around the world. But it's not the one. It's not the 365 version that's built in. It's the I've installed my own, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you're running the Microsoft 365 version and it's in the cloud, which all of our clients are, if they use SharePoint, we don't have anybody that has on-prem anything.
Yeah.
But for for those who have that and they're running the on-prem SharePoint, if you don't know, you should be asking, because this started out as a 0-day and it's been actively exploited, and there was a major ruckus around it over the past couple of days. Yeah. And it's been patched. So, congrats to Microsoft for getting a patch out urgently. But that's just step one, because now that it's been first identified, for those bad guys who may not have known it was a thing, now they do, and they're rushing to go see if they can also exploit it. At the same time, you've got people that are hopefully rushing to patch it, but there's going to be a ton of people, as well as I do, Donna, that months from now, they'll still be getting breached because of this, because they haven't patched.
Yeah, we'll hear about it. We'll hear about it. So we can reference this, and we will talk about. We discussed this in our.
And here's what we'll say: we don't remember what episode it was, but we talked about this. We said it would happen.
Yeah, but I mean, it is quite urgent. It is actively being exploited for a big attack. It's not one where they get in and then that'll let them go and it'll take them. I mean, this looks like a big open door that needs to be patched. And thankfully, if you are using a current version of SharePoint, you'll get an update for it, because that's what they do. And but I mean, that brings us back to AI, though. I mean, AI bots now are actively looking for these kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
And we are we are now entering a new world when agentic AI is now becoming more of a reality, particularly with ChatGPT's agent feature that's coming out any day now. Everybody will start getting it. Let's talk about what an agentic or agent AI really means to people.
Okay. I'm super excited about it.
I don't know how I'm going to use it, but I think it's cool.
Yeah. I've been, agentic AI has actually been around for a bit. So it's not new. When AI first came out, it was all about prompting. You heard that, prompt engineering and all this kind of stuff. And then it very quickly changed to agentic AI, being able to basically put these AI systems together so they actually do things for you. It's not just a question and answer, or let me ask it this and it gives me feedback on that or ideas. This is like, I want you to log into my email. I then want you to check my email, and then I want you to put these emails in this order based on how you interpret the email, and then also draft responses for those emails that are a priority. I mean, it's doing all these different steps for you. So it's performing tasks for you. And sometimes in some cases, these things can perform hundreds and hundreds of tasks for you at whatever trigger point you want, time of day, manual triggers, whatever it is you want it to do, it's going out and doing all this stuff for you.
And it makes decisions while it's at it.
It can, absolutely can.
And that's the big difference right there.
Yeah. And some of it's workflow type decisions. So you've probably seen something similar to where it's like, if I get an email from Donna, put it in this folder. That's more of a workflow thing. But it can actually look at it and say, what is the sentiment of this email? Is the person angry? Or are they happy? Or are they asking a sales question? What is it? And then take these specific actions based on that, because it's making that decision for you.
Yes. And now think about it making all kinds of decisions. Like in healthcare, it's like if you're the physician and you have your staff, your nurse, PAs, whoever you work with, and you say, okay, this is the workflow I want. I want BP and all this stuff, and I want it here, and I want this, do these steps. It does that with you just going, hey, I got a new patient. And it figures it out, all the things that need to be done on its own in like breakneck speed. And that is, I like the term unsupervised intern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. But I mean, that's the way I look at it. These are my really smart assistants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The things that scare me about these is that people are going to, I think, rush to do this.
Yeah.
Like we're already seeing people rush to do all kind of AI stuff. They're going to rush to do this. And then in the meantime, they're opening themselves up to even more and more risk. This is something that should absolutely go through a risk assessment process.
Yes. And not just, hey, could something go wrong? The answer will be yes.
It will. Yeah. It's how bad? What is the likelihood and impact?
and you won't be able to judge the likelihood necessarily because you don't know what it'll decide.
No.
Yeah.
And
it is great in that it's helping us do these things, but it's also helping the adversaries the same way. And so, that we used to call it spray and pray, and they would just get a huge list and they'd throw them all out there and they'd see how many come back in. Well, now they can do it so quickly, create these phishing and deep fakes and all this kind of stuff. And there's an article, a New York Times article that I read that said phishing attacks are up 40 times since ChatGPT launched.
Man, not 40%, 40 times.
40x.
4,000%. Wow.
Because now they can, they can do things differently than they did before. And that's what it was saying is basically if you're as a human going to be the one you think you're going to fight AI, agentic AI, any AI, you're going to be the one to beat it. You're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. There you go.
Yeah. So I haven't sent this over to you yet, but I'll talk about it.
Great.
So AI enabled vishing is a thing now.
Yeah.
And it is very good. There's a company who actually is creating training around this. So think of it like, we do phishing simulation in email. You can do vishing simulation and it's done through AI.
Oh.
And so I've actually listened to some of the calls where they do that. And the first call I listened to, I actually thought the human was the AI. Because the AI was so good.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize until halfway through the call, I'm like, wait a minute, that's the real person. The other one is oh, wow.
And I know that made you sit there for a minute, working that one out.
Yeah.
How did I fall for that?
This is good. I mean, it was a call. The person, the phishing was me calling, not me, but somebody calling in, the AI calling in and saying, I need a password reset. Mm-hmm. So they were calling into an AI help desk. Because I didn't have any context on the video, I just started listening to it. I didn't know which one was the AI doing a thing. And so I thought it was the technician side was the AI, but it wasn't. The technician side was the human. But the AI was doing everything it could. Every time the human would say, well, I can't do that without verification, it would make up excuses. It's like, oh man, I need to have this before my call in 30 minutes. And the technician was like, well, I need to call your supervisor and get approval. And the AI said, oh gosh, please don't do that. Like I'll lose my job if you call, because the last thing my boss wants to hear is my name come across his desk one more time this week. Yep. Please, is there any way you can reset this for me? And I was like, what? That's crazy.
Classic OSINT, man. It's just So keeping that in mind, that it's doing it that well, folks. And then that's where it's making decisions on its own. It's handling those, anything that they come up with, it's deciding how to respond to that.
Yep.
And, these are all great, but you do have to evaluate everything and say, what is the risk? Because there's always a risk. And the question is, how much of a risk are you willing to take on?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at like one of the things, it kind of gets scary in a conversation. It was like, okay, we're letting AI, it's writing the code now, which we were just looking at one of those. It writes the code. You give it stuff and you tell it, it writes the code. We say, now we want you.
It's really good.
It was really good. Then we say, well, we want you to create the test data for the code you wrote. And then we want you to test it. And then we want you to tell us if there are any security issues so that we can, figure out what we want to do about them. And then somebody goes, so now all the adversary has to do is get access to it and ask it, how can I attack you? Because I've already told it to go figure that out. It already knows.
Mm.
Yeah. So, it's just the layers of things that you have to think through. But the value is immense. And of course, then I said, okay, ChatGPT, give me some examples of agentic AI and how cool it would be in a healthcare small business environment. And then what risk would we have to worry about? Because I can see everybody clicking on, let's make this about me. So now I'm going to enjoy, oh yeah, but here's some risk you'd have to consider. So let's talk about automating patient communications. So it could automatically review the schedule, send the appointment reminders, send pre-visit instructions, check to see if anything has been sent in, like if you want the patients to fill things out, it could be connected to go figure that out. And if it hasn't, notify the patient, hey, we'd really like you to fill this out before you come. You can print them here, tell them all of that. They can come to the website and ask it questions, and it will carry on a conversation, answering the questions for the patient before they even come in. Then when they come in, they can, you've got everything, and it can help it schedule, it will help the patient schedule a new appointment based on, hey, whatever the name we're going to give it, because it ain't going to be, the Alexa or Siri name. Now it's got to be something else. But, hey, I need you to schedule an appointment for Bubba Jones to do these things and find the next available. And it will just go and do it and give the patient information, carry on the conversation with the patient. You're done. That's great. Now, what kind of risk would that involve? Well, we know the first one.
Well, PHI exposure. Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest one.
That's the easy one. and it's in a lot of ways PHI exposure. Because you got, where's that coming from? Where is it going to? And also, if I got it connecting to all of these other systems, how's that happening? Is that secure? Is it going to give correct advice on, do you need to come in now? I'm having these things. Should I come in now? What do you want it to say? Because it's going to make those decisions.
Well, the integration with all the other tools is the part that scares me.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't scare me because, because I'm just a scareable person. It scares me primarily because I've seen it happen where an integration with something was the entry point for a security incident or a hack. We've seen these connectors between software become the point where the hack happens. And so the more you integrate into something, the more that you're allowing risk in. So that scares me to death. However, all these agentic systems typically function off of the integrations. When you look at any of them, it's like we integrate with 500 different platforms, and you're like, that's amazing.
That's 500 different risk points to me.
Yeah, but that's the way they function.
Yep.
And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying be aware that there's a risk there every time you have an integration happen. What does the integration have access to? What can it do? What if it does have somebody who somehow gets in the middle and does something malicious? What could they do with that? There's all kind of questions about that. And it's unfortunate. I think you have to accept some of the risks. You just have to say, well, we can't not do it. We just have to understand what the risks are and lower those down to as acceptable a level as we can.
Yeah. And it just keeps happening over and over and over, the same parts of the conversation of the integration. So like, let's continue the patient visit, and we filed insurance, and now there's a form that we need or something like that. And it sees the response in the electronic claims that it filed, sees the response, and sends the request to the patient. I need this information. Give me the information. Here's where you send it. They send it back, and then that's going back to the insurance. All of that happening without a person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, does everybody have BAAs in place for all of those conversations? Because you're responsible for all of that. So how are you sending those messages? Does the patient authorize you to send those messages? How many checks is it going to make? And that assumption is already getting us in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what if, please don't even start with I sent it to the wrong patient. Because, you know, patients are going to fill out these forms in handwriting, and the computer's going to make the same kind of mistakes that humans do. You know?
Yeah. Or what if you got two patients with the same name?
Oh, yeah, boy, that's always a fun one. What's your date of birth? You know, it always goes to that. But it is a great idea of it continuing, because then, you know, I can also use the pieces of it where it's pulling data from the EHR and the billing system to do trending and telling me, you know, where are we getting our patients from? Are we having problems with no-show rates? Do an analysis of all kinds of information coming out of the EHR that today I might not even be able to see in the data.
Mm-hmm.
Or a trend, it picks up a trend that I'm not even looking for.
Yep.
But then on the flip side of it, when it tells you that you've got, you know, 0 no-shows for the last 6 months, you know something's wrong. But, you know, it may be slightly off. So you've got to do audits of this stuff, you know, or is it, you know, that's the thing that scares me, is everybody will start to assume it's correct.
Well, they've already done that. That's how the whole conversation about hallucinations happens. And then, you know, on the one side, you got people that are like, how can it hallucinate? It's, you know, the data is the data. And then the other side are like, somebody said, well, humans make mistakes too, so why would you expect AI to be any different?
Yeah, it's just an artificial version of the same intelligence.
It's still flawed. But some of it is crazy, because I might have mentioned before, I gave it an article one time, like, here's the word for word verbatim. I want you to just give me a blurb out of that article to put in social media. And this is a little mistake, but it did not put the decimal point in the right place.
Uh-huh.
And so it was supposed to be like 72 terabytes of data was stolen. Instead, it put 7.2 terabytes. That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's and those things matter, especially when you're looking at, you know, healthcare and my ability to run my business. If it continues along a path one time and then it remembers that and then uses that the next time. So we can't ever just assume it's correct. And we can't ever just walk away and not worry about doing anything. I think there's going to be new jobs of following up and auditing and evaluating all of this information. And, it's like, okay, another thing that it can do great is write policies and procedures. And I use it to write things for us when we're building something that we're going to do with our clients or whatnot. But we always have, okay, this is an area the client has to decide. I don't want you deciding what goes in there, but we can give them some, here's some options to consider. But you have to decide what goes in there on how you're going to run your business, and not the AI deciding, where you end up with policies and procedures that look just like everybody else and nobody's following.
Yeah. Yeah. You just created a really high-tech template.
Yeah. With no customization in it. We can't do that. So it requires the mindset of, look, this is a really smart intern, but until I teach it every single thing I know, it's not going to know all the things I know.
Yeah. Well, even if you give it to it, like you've experienced this, you give it a data set and then it's like, I don't know that. And you're like, what do you mean you don't know it? It's right here. I gave you the information. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did.
And those arguments. Oh my God. Yes, it's right there on this page. No, it's not.
It's right here. See my highlight? No, that ain't it.
and it'll tell me, this is I'll say, review this article, like you said, and look for this. That's not in there. Yes, it's in there. Nope, it's not in there. I was like, it's verbatim. Now I've lost the point,
Yeah. Or even better, it's like you said, that's not in the article. Oh yeah, you're right. That's not.
I know.
And then I asked it one time, I was like, where did you get this information? And it was like, I don't know.
and my favorite one that it's into lately is, because at some point, okay, my name's Donna. So it starts talking to you, and it'll use your name periodically. Fine. But now randomly, it'll just call me Alex or Felicia. I mean, it just comes up with a name. And I'm like, why are you calling me that? That's not my name. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Donna. You're right. Yeah, I know my name.
I haven't had that one. That's funny. That's hilarious.
And it'll be like out of nowhere. It'll just throw out a name that's not me. And I'm like, where is this coming from?
So yesterday, little side story, I had ChatGPT I was asking it questions from my computer, so I had it listening, it's from a microphone. And I forgot I had it on. And so I started playing a video, and it was a video of a woman talking about a restaurant business and all that. And so the video plays for like 3 minutes, and all of a sudden I hear the ChatGPT thing go, that's very good that you've got restaurants that you run and that your operations are doing X, Y, Z. And I'm like, no, forget that. Forget all that. I'm like, last thing I want you to do is giving me feedback on restaurants and how to run a restaurant.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. So yes, it's great, and I personally am really looking forward to, we already use it to help us do so many things in the work that we do. But I want to be able to do more, because this is something, we talk about all the time, not having a good SIM solution for small entities. Okay, well, maybe it can't do it full time. Eventually it could, and it wouldn't have to be hugely expensive. But could I at least take the logs and run them through monthly, and tell it to, tell me if I just pull the server logs and only certain things, because those Windows servers are really chatty with itself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I'm hoping this is going to help drive down the cost of things that right now small businesses can't afford when it comes to cybersecurity. if it's not from the preventative side, at least from the side of monitoring and reporting.
Yeah. And making sure that whatever it's doing matches what we think we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is it that it thinks it's looking for versus what we've said that we intend to look for? So, I mean, we already talked about the false positives and false negatives, you know, so it can tell you nothing's going on and there's something going on. So,
Well, you know what's going to happen is you'll use ChatGPT to create the report, and then you're going to use Gemini to tell on ChatGPT as to whether or not it did it right. And so you have to use all these different models that are going to critique the other models.
yeah, and it works. It's great. I've done it on a couple of things, just like you talked about, you know, and give it to one and say, give me some recommendations, and it would give it to me, and I give it back to the other one. Give me some recommendations, and it would just keep fine-tuning itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't tell it that I was being unfaithful with the other one. I didn't.
Yeah, the one thing I haven't tried yet though is having the AI talk to itself. You know, bring it up on like two phones.
Oh, yeah.
I need to try that.
Yeah, that's tough. But
So on down the list. So we talked about data, insights, and reporting. I think that's going to be a great thing. Drafting documents and drafting support. You know, also your internal knowledge base and training.
Oh, yeah.
To me, that's a big deal. And it's something that I'm actually working on now, is creating like an internal AI chatbot so that technicians can say, all right, we've got a client and they're dealing with XYZ issue. And what do we know based on our internal knowledge base of this client and these problems we may have faced in the past and all that, so that it can help speed up our response time and our resolution time.
oh, yeah, it's fantastic. And it's like, you know, we have in Carden Club, we have Murphy, the hippopotamus chatbot. But
Yeah.
because we limit the knowledge, we control it. And this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. We have it secured so that only certain people are using it. We have it set up so that it's only using data and information that I've told it is acceptable. And when I go and give it things, and I go and look at the questions and answers, and if something doesn't look right, or it says, I don't know the answer to that, I can go say, well, now here's the answer to this. And now from then on, it knows it. But it's important to me to make sure I'm controlling what it knows. And flat out telling it, if it's not on this list, you don't know it. And so it'll say, I got nothing, you know. And it drives people crazy. You know, we got a message, I asked it, you know, A, B, and C, and it was not very helpful. I'm like, because it's not going to tell you that. It's not. I'm not going to let it, you know, so. But needless to say, you know, you've got the, you know, being able to process the client and help the client faster. But one of the things we run into with having policies and procedures that nobody follows is because it's so hard to find them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, you're right.
So if I could just, you know, turn to the AI and say, hey, what do I need to do about this? Is this a HIPAA violation, or is this in our policy, or what's our policy about this? And it tells me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to go to HR and ask.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, is it okay to be with somebody else's wife at a Coldplay concert? Is that in our policy?
It was there. You had to get it in there. Yeah.
I mean, you know, everybody else is using it. I might as well.
Yeah. And before, when my friend of mine was here when it first was hitting everything, and he had us do a reenactment of it and send it to everybody. So it's funny. But therein lies, you know, don't they wish they could claim that it was a deep fake?
I would have. That wasn't me.
It was their reaction that caused the problem, though, you know? It was their reaction. So,
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole security episode that we can make around that, about your reaction to things.
exactly. Yeah.
don't be so quick to to notify and to take inappropriate reactions and actions.
Yeah. If you panic out of guilt, then things will go wrong always. So don't, and a lot of times people make mistakes and they feel guilty about it. And I get that and I appreciate it, but it doesn't mean you need to panic. They're counting on it, and it's what we teach over and over and over. This is what the adversaries are trying to do. They're trying to get you to panic. And then once you panic, they got you. And that was a clear example of how when you panic, it only, they've got you. You've opened the door at that point. So anyway, So here's what we need to know. We can't say AI is the hero or the villain. It's just more.
No. Yeah. It's like money. It's not good or evil. It just amplifies whichever one you are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Whatever you want to be, it's going to help you be that.
Yeah.
And if your systems are not patched or unsupported completely and not getting any patches, well, that just means AI is going to make it easier for them to find you and use that against you.
Yeah.
And most importantly, is we've been saying for a long time, years, trying to get people to understand that cybersecurity and IT are not the same.
Yeah.
They're no longer the same. IT people can do cybersecurity. Cybersecurity people can do IT work. Sometimes they can and can't. Depends on what's happening. Both ways. But you can't be somebody that's, we're going to do everything with the bright, shiny things and make it perfect, because as often I have to say, perfect is the enemy of done.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The other thing about the cybersecurity side too, that's particularly hard if you're on the client side, is there's levels to the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, MSPs are constantly coming to the table saying we do cybersecurity, and we do the same thing. We do cybersecurity, but there's levels to it. And what level of cybersecurity are we doing, and where do we stop? And do we have somebody else to bring in? And, like, for example, our friends over at Black Talon, they're a different level of cybersecurity than we are.
Yeah.
Even though we're both talking about, we do cybersecurity. It's not the same. It's different.
Indeed, my friend. So we just have to remember that all of this is great, but if we're not, paying attention, just like anything else, we can make a mess.
Yep. Guaranteed.
And I can make a mess. That's just really no problem at all. Given any opportunity, it'll happen.
Yep. All right, folks. Well, that is our show for today. So be sure to follow us, share us out on social media, or have your AI agent do it for you. Either way, that's fine. We'll take it. Remember, for Donna and myself, the HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.